Hi everyone, I'm Rubina Khan and welcome to the fifth edition of Rubina'S Radar. I'm in conversation today with Narendrakumar Ahmed, whose fashion graph over the past 25 years has been rather enviable. From being a fashion designer to being India's first fashion editor to his flagship store in Mumbai being listed as the top 56 menswear stores in the world by Esquire's Big Black Book Fall Winter 2012, to his current role as creative director, Amazon Fashion India, working with the founder of the company and the richest man in the world, Jeff Bezos, Narendra has definitely come a long way. So I hope you'll all enjoy the conversation today, and I'm going to, uh, you know, get Narendra on.
Hey, hi.
Hi. Hi, Nari. How
Hi.
are you?
All good. Thank you for having me here.
So let's get started. Uh, or should we wait for more people? I think we should just start.
Yeah,
Waiting
we,
is not for
we
me.
know each other. We know each other for too long to wait for
Yeah,
everybody else.
that's true. That's true. So I'm going to start with uh, you started as a photocopier. That was your first job, like back in the day when things were still measured in paise. And you used to
Right.
sell a copy, which is a page for 15 paise at Nariman Point. Tell me, how did that happen and why?
That happened mostly because I was terrible at my academics. I failed in my 12th standard. I passed my BSc with a little bit of help from the hand of somebody else, kind of stuff. So I barely made it. And so not very many job opportunities for someone like that at that point. So that's my first job was working for Modi Xerox, where I used to sell not the copiers but photocopies, and that's how I landed my first job. I did that for some time, for about 6 8 months, before somebody felt bad for me and offered me a better job. And the better job was really selling photocopies to selling glass bottles, like Coca-Cola bottles and milk bottles. So I spent a better part of that early life, post-graduation, harnessing the richness of RA dairy, mostly selling them milk bottles out there, meeting the cows, seeing how it is done, getting all of that kind of bit. So, so
Meeting the cows. Yeah.
not meeting with the cows, I said meeting the cows.
I said meeting. I said meeting. Why would I say that? Okay, that's so politically and every which way incorrect.
Right.
So you waited for the first design school in India to open, which is NIFT in 1986. So to study fashion and design, and
Right.
eventually you graduated from the same in 1990. But what allured you, or drove you to fashion and design from your
So,
sort of mundane life?
ever since college, my mom used to have this little hand sewing machine in the house, and I used to alter the flare of the bottom with the fashion of my trousers. Make it slim, make it tall, make it thin, according to the fashion of the times. And I enjoyed doing that at the point, but I really couldn't couldn't afford to go abroad and study at that point. So I had to wait for something, and all the schools were just Sophia Tech and this and that, Nirmala Niketa, all that. Unless, there were times like today, I would never have gotten admission into something like that. But yeah, and when I heard NIFT was opening, they said either you have to be a first class in like your graduation or your 12th standard, or you need 1 year's experience. So I quit my job the day I saw the ad
Mm-hmm.
for, and I looked, searched for a job without having a job in hand. At that point, I was the marketing manager, drawing really good salary in a public limited company. So came as a shock to everybody, all my friends, family, and the question was, "Kya darzi bane?" Kya that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's what happened. And my first job after drawing 15,000 rupees a month, my first job in the fashion business was matching dupatta to salwar kameez and packing them at 400 rupees a month. So I,
John.
I picked it up. I needed the experience, and the next job I got after 6 months was another in an export house, merchandising, a company called Jazzman, and it was exporting to Perry Ellis in US and that kind of stuff. And then I applied to NIFT, and luckily I got in. I mean, but the question, the interview was a great process. I woke up at 10 in the morning. I woke up at 6 in the morning at 10:30 interview. I quickly made, they wanted a portfolio of about some 10 sketches at least. I got 4.5 ready, and I managed to color 2 out of them. But what I did was I took one dress that I had made to the interview. It is, I still remember, it's a halter dress, tiered skirt with a halter top, one in happy yellow. And yellow is still my favorite color to date. And people ask me, aren't you a little too old to do this course at that point? you know, and I said, really, I quit my job over here paying so much. This is the business I'm going to be in. Whether you give me admission or not, I'm still going to do it.
Mhm.
And I got in. I think the day I got in, I got this little green postcard that said, Narendra Kumar, Ahmed, you are admitted to NIFT for the year 89-90. Sorry, it was 88-90. 88-90.
Yeah, you graduated in 90, yes.
88-90. I think that was the day that really I became who I was to be. Yeah, really gave me, it just unhinged me completely and let me take on the path that I wanted to, allowed me to express myself. So many different things. I mean, that day is, if there was one day that is indelible, I think that is that day when I received that green postcard that I was admitted to NIFT.
And that postcard led you to opening your own fashion label in 1992. And then that's how the fashion design career started.
Right. No, and when I went into school, I said, I should work for the best. When I started, then I got into Ensemble to do to work there. I was to work with Rohit Khosla in Delhi, but I didn't want to stay in Delhi, so he said, "Why don't you come here and work here?" I was there for about 2 years, 2.5, 3 years with Ensemble, and good experience around to start my entire business, and that's how it took on to my own stuff, and then 2 years later my own line.
Mm-hmm. So, from creating fashion at your own label to writing about fashion as India's first fashion editor at the Elle magazine in 1996 to leading fashion in India in your current role as creative director of Amazon Fashion India for the past 7 years, I think you've made fashionably forward moves for the past 25 years. How hard or easy has it been?
So, I was lucky to get into L to work with the team out there. There was a really interesting anecdote, and I measure a lot of all of my career through anecdotes. And one of the first anecdotes at that magazine was, of course, you were the first person to start, be the first fashion editor in this country, creating the concept of what a fashion editor really means, and setting it out for the industry in a way. I'm thankful for both the publisher and Nija for getting me on, getting me out there. It was a fantastic experience communicating fashion and being able to see fashion from both sides, right? From the consumer side as well as from the designer side. Basically, it's allowed me.
Editorial also, yes.
So it gave me a unique perspective. Yeah, that was. But the anecdote that I remember was when we launched the magazine, the French team came to India, and they were with all these YSL, Gautier, Mugler clothes and all of them. But the ladies who had come down wanted to wear sari and a blouse. A few days, they gave me 3 days, and they said they went to buy a sari and said, "What to do about the blouse?" I said, "Just give me the fabric, I will make it." I made the sari. It fit. I made the blouse for them. It fitted perfectly, and they said to me, "How the hell did you manage to do this without taking our measurements?" Yeah, and to the French, the idea of being a tailor really was, rang a bell. I mean, was really important. understanding the roots of what design really is. Tailoring was really a big part. And when I told them that my inspiration for people like Asdin Alaya, who I was, like you say, you have those inspiration and you don't really get to meet them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I was lucky to meet Asdin Alaya in the studio. He made lunch for me. We had a great time the afternoon. He spent the whole day with me. And
where did you meet him?
In Paris.
In Paris.
That's when I told my team, when I told the French team, these are my inspiration. They said, next time you come, we'll take you to meet him. And it so happened that one of the ladies, her mother was a seamstress at Asdin Studio. She told him the story, and he said, I would love to meet him. Yeah. He made couscous. I spoke English, he spoke French, but we communicated. Yeah. That night also
in the language of design.
Absolutely. And he showed me what he was working on and his thinking. And guess who joined us that afternoon? Naomi Campbell with John Casablancas.
Yeah, she's got a familial connection with Alaya.
Yeah. So those were the interesting parts. I've always looked at fashion to be expressing what I think, more than just making clothes, it's about telling a story. Mm-hmm. So through all of that, being like invited to the Art Biennale as a fashion representative to, France, at Saint Etienne, we did that. There have been lots of events that have been firsts in many kinds, in many ways. And eventful journey, there have been lots of lows also. But like myself, no rear view, what is behind is not important, what is ahead really is more exciting for me. And to look at all of that is just every day I'm amazed that I find some kind of inspiration to do something. I find inspiration when I'm high, I feel inspiration when I'm low. And I've done shows based on both stories, one when I'm extremely low and quite a few times when I'm high. High means happy.
But you still did the job. I still did the job.
Yes. Yeah.
That's
so
the
journey has been fantastic. One of learning. I always thought that design was just a base for me to build on everything. So today, I've been a photographer. I've been a teacher. I have been a brand consultant. I did the entire Complete Man campaign for Raymond for many years. I've worked with every textile mill in the country. I've taught at fashion school, been the first creative director. Yeah, so a lot of firsts, because I think that all of this blends into the idea of design. And I've used that to nourish myself from so many different places.
Right. So you conceptualized and ideated India's first fashion week. Tell me more about that.
That is an interesting.
What happened?
That is an interesting story. That is a really interesting story. Well, I think 97, 98, when Neerja, who's the publisher of Elle, with me, we decided that we should really create this whole concept of an Elle India Fashion Week. It was to be Elle India. I went to Delhi. I met designers who were stalwarts at that time, big people in the design industry like Abraham Thakur, David, Rakesh, Gitanjali Kashyap, Sumit Nair. We also hired a person to run the project for us, in the team. And she was down from Canada, and we hired her to run the project. I worked together with her and Neerja to put the whole thing, get the designers together. And that was really the foundation of what is today the FDCI. That's where it came together. Unfortunately, it went to somebody else. Someone else took the idea and ran with it. And there were different circumstances for all of those kind of stuff. But happy to know that, it's been a first. The idea was really good. But post that, I think a lot of other contributions that I have done for creating Lakme Fashion Week when it separated from FDCI and created, I was part of the ideators who created the Next Gen show that you see today, which is probably India's best show for unearthing some great talent throughout the year. It's a show that is most looked forward to by everybody in the industry.
And like you said, you didn't have the opportunity to exhibit on a platform like that. So the idea came from there because you were, not given the chance to do so. So you want to give younger people that same chance that you were denied.
I was denied the chance. I wanted to give the chance. First, that was the real thought. One, there was journalists who were young at that time who really didn't understand the high. So were feeling I did not know how would they be able to qualify a designer of repute. So they wanted to see peers, and I think India was just opening up at that point. There were new opportunities people were looking for, youngsters. I thought this is a great place to give other people, young people, the opportunity I never had when I started. Yeah. And that has been something I've worked with right through my career, giving opportunities.
Right. So I have a offbeat question to break the seriousness now. What is the what is the genealogical history of your name? Narendra Kumar Ahmed.
So great question.
I mean, you do share the name with our PM, so and then you have
that comes up after when you type Narendra Kumar.
Yeah. So auto prompt is always Modi. It's never Kumar.
I have been lucky enough to have parents who come from different religious backgrounds. My mother is a Hindu and my father is Muslim, and together they gave me the best upbringing I could ever imagine. Yeah, never limited my thinking, never put me to any one direction. Helped me find my own way and path through what and the great thing was they are and both philosophies, so it helped in the openness of their mind. And it's been a fantastic journey. I am eternally grateful for the courage and the conviction that my parents had. It gives me the guts to stand up. And when we just said about FDC of the FDCI telling Narendra Kumar that if you go to another fashion week, we'll destroy you here. I said the only person that can destroy my career is me. Nobody else can do that. And I have the right to choose where I want to show my clothes. Yeah. And it doesn't mean that I don't respect that organization. I do. Till today, I do respect the organization. It's a great place. But, fashion needs to be democratic.
Indeed. So, John Abraham has been a big spoke in turning your fashion wheel. Tell us why. I know, but the others don't know why.
Number one, he's a nice guy. Number two, he was starting out his career. I was starting out on my career. Number three was one of the few people who focused on athleticism in their body. And so, clothes that really spoke that kind of stuff resonated with me. That he was an athlete and he is still today one, and a great friend, and the fact that that he appreciated that. That's how we started. And one of the best occasions that he wore it was he wore Narendra Kumar for the launch of Gucci store in India, kind of stuff. So I am grateful to him for being a part of my journey and continuing to be part of this.
And he could have picked any suit from the Gucci lineup.
He could have. He told me one day, Nari, if I go through my cupboard, there are only bags of Narendra Kumar out there. That kind of stuff. So he's generous, he's kind, and he's level-headed. And I met him when I was doing the Complete Man campaign, and he was working as Nexus Enterprise in marketing, sales, in some of that. That's where we met and connected, and how we built our friendship over time.
You also designed Amitabh Bachchan's wardrobe for an entire season of Kaun Banega Crorepati. I want to know, how was it working in such close proximity with a man that has such a discerning and exacting eye in fashion, as well as everything else. He's very exacting.
Agreed to everything that you said, all of that and above. But gentleman to the core, really gentleman to the core. I mean, even today, if he would see me at a place, he would come and say hello. I would go and say hello. He would say hello to me, and that's all that I ever needed from the film industry. Respect. More than anything. I mean, I don't go and photograph myself with all of them. I mean, respect is what I wanted. Respect because I love what I do, and I appreciate what they do. And the idea was to be respect, and I think that he is a tailoring kind of enigma
Muse.
in a
Yeah.
enigma in a sense because of his unique body shape, build. You have to really be a tailor to understand that. How to do that men's kind of stuff, and it was really important. I mean, in working with a celebrity, having all of those kind of things, having his respect. For me, that was all really the most important part.
Indeed.
That I could
Yeah.
do that and garner enough respect on a personal level from him.
Right. So you've also worked on the Bollywood film Fashion in 2008 as costume designer for the whole film. But you didn't do many more films after that, just a couple here and there. Why so?
You know, that film, Madhur Bhandarkar gave it to me and Rita. My friend Rita and me were doing it, and said, "Nani, you are the holders of this entire film visually and fashion wise. And how you build the characters for each of them, for Priyanka, for Kangana, and Mugdha. We created characters for each of them, and we built a consistency right through the whole film. So you see personalities that stand out, and I think that for Priyanka, that was probably the first film that gave that fashion license to a lot of people, Priyanka and all that. And so, it was amazing to be, holding of an entire vision. Otherwise, you're just doing clothes for someone where, you're taking like, what, 30 outfits to the set, whatever the actor likes and somebody else likes and someone else likes. There was no vision that held together. That was the first time, that was the only time there was a great vision that was held together. I'm sure there are films after that, but, a lot of what individualities come to play in films, and one is quite particular about what they look, and sometimes, and today that cinema has moved to a much more respectful place where people and actors also understand bringing an entire vision to a film. So I would love to do one like that right now, but not just make clothes just for that.
How do you, manage working as a fashion designer for your successful label and being creative director Amazon Fashion? Like, how does the twain meet on a daily basis?
So, daily basis, I'm looking at Amazon Fashion for most of my time. It occupies a lot of my
From
time.
home. From home
But
now.
even
From home.
there are meetings, stuff to do, and work is done. As everybody has seen, online has picked up so much. Amazon has picked up also, and so it only means increasing the amount of work that you do. But design is a continuous process. I don't need to be sitting at a table to design, and my concepts don't come from momentary inspiration. My concept would come from a conversation I've had with someone, a macro story that is important, that be of the line, and then micro stories that are conversations or something that I've read, a music video that I have seen, or something like that could inspire an entire collection. And sometimes a lot of our collections are also socio-political in nature. And this FKNS, fake news, that is about the macro trend of where we're living in, and we'll continue to live in for some time.
Yeah. It's not inspired by Trump, just in case anyone was wondering.
It's not inspired by Trump, but it started out because I could see that fake idea was going to be part of everybody's life going ahead, from filters that we have for everything. You don't know who you're meeting, who you're really talking to.
Let's ask you. So obviously you are not at liberty to discuss what you really do at Amazon.
Right.
But what do you think people think you do at Amazon?
I think each to themselves. I've had, being one of the members of the founding team of Amazon, fashion from the very beginning, working with people, setting up the whole idea, looking at, brands that come in, forecasting what we should buy, looking at the UI of creating some large projects that are now running global, that have started in India, now running global, in used by global teams, and working on such interesting projects. It's been a fantastic two-way journey with a super learning curve. I always knew that digital was going to be the future of everything that we do, and I do something in that space. I was lucky that I did land up on the top of a heap of a company that is doing well right now, and given me so many great moments to remember. So many great moments to remember. Directing my, directing my own brand films for Amazon, creating brand films, commercials for them. So it's been superb. I have learned a lot in there.
So, how does it feel to make decisions that influence the way 1.3 billion Indians and counting shop and dress?
Great you asked me that question. I'll tell you why. Because at the end of my rounds of interview at Amazon, I spoke to about 12 people, including very, very senior Jeff second in command in the US, in Europe, in Japan, in Italy, creative directors, directors of businesses. And finally, I was asked this question: why would you, who has worked so much, has been Esquire's 50 best men, design stores in the world, have so much Bollywood, all of these people, why would you want to work for Amazon? Yeah. I think my question was, while I was just the creative director, my answer to them was, how many people get a chance to change the way 1.3 billion people live? So it was designed big scale, yeah, and it was communicating with at so many levels to people today. And today, over these 7 years, more than 1 billion times people have bought on Amazon fashion.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was the vision. It was not a job. It was a vision. It was a vision that being on that platform was a way to reach 1 billion and more people. And how do you talk to them at a level that works to them on an everyday level, as well as give them fashion that elevates their everyday kind of stuff, So between the two, it's a fine balance to do a lot of all of that. That's what I learned out there. That's how, and I took that up as the challenge that, when would I ever get to do this in life? As a designer, I knew I would still reach only so many people and one kind of so many people. This is like the entire nation.
Very diverse group all across the country.
Absolutely. And so
So, do people call you and complain about the packages?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Can I call you and complain about my packages?
Somebody called me. My friend called me up this morning and said to me, "Nari, there's a glitch. I can't get out to exit. I can't pay for what I'm doing," kind of stuff. I said, "Just shut it and restart the app." Oh, it was done.
That is
so sometimes the answers are really small,
Yeah.
Sometimes they're really little logical, but
you should have an auto reply for such questions. Auto send the reply.
No, the one thing that I have learned at Amazon is, and it comes down right from Jeff himself, is customer, 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 customer. Yeah, you have to see, and within Amazon also, if you don't deal with customer issues quickly, it just escalates very, very, very fast.
Yeah, and they're very swift too.
Yeah, and another wonderful memory of being at Amazon was getting to meet Jeff. Yeah, thrice. Thrice, and the first
You're
time
counting. You're counting.
It's fantastic. I know. Come on, he's big. He's great. So the first time I met him, he was coming to India and said, "Nari, he has to do this. He has to be dressed Indian and all that. How will we do?" I said, "Send me a picture. I will make the clothes." He came he wore it. He said, "Nari, how did you make this without any measurements from my team?" Yeah. And the first time he did that, and I don't know if you've seen this picture, he's standing on top of a truck with was made without meeting him or his measurements. Yeah. So that is what I believe,
Everyone has seen what he wore on his India trip. Everyone.
At this trip also. So this trip also, I got to meet him at his house in Santa Monica and discuss his entire trip to India, one-on-one. Fantastic, fantastic. I'm privileged, I think, for something.
Do you think he wore you on his India trip in Jan 2020 because you had his fashion venture, or because he likes your contemporary classic style?
So the clothes tell them for themselves. I would think that he likes what we do, and that he knew me in person. Also, he was comfortable. I think it's both ways. And of course, he decides what he wears, right? So I could not anything it had. And for a person who has access to anything in the world, any brand, any design, just to say, I leave it to you to do this, fantastic stuff. So I mean, the fact that his greatness that he would say, leave it to me and decide. And you saw him through the entire India trip that, I leave it to people to decide what he looked like.
Right. So you do think that you obviously always praise him, and you think he's a wonderful visionary and he's a great down-to-earth human being. Are you on first name basis with him?
Gym. I asked him, how do you keep yourself fit? He says,
Yeah.
I go to the gym twice a week, he says.
He has to. He's got a lot of work to do. And he has to be mentally and physically fit. So,
yeah.
Have you met Andy Jassy, Amazon's new CEO?
No, that's a different, Amazon Web Services is a different company. Hopefully, I will meet him also in some time.
Okay. So how is business at your Bombay store and online?
So for COVID, I just recently shut my store. I think everything to online is really quite bad during the whole COVID phase. Nobody going out, just paying rent was just stupid and killing. And I also realized that a lot of all of this is shifting online. So, we are now available, FKNS is available on Nika. We are there on Elitify. We are there on other platforms, Shopper Stop, and our own website, www.narendrakumar.in.
I see. Wonderful. Anyway, you know digital better than anybody right now, so you should know. So I want to know, do you know Jeff's full name?
No, Jeff Bezos.
No, it's Jeffrey Preston Bezos.
See, somebody knows better than me.
Yes. So what do you think of what do you feel about fashion weeks and the future of fashion weeks in India?
I've always believed that fashion should be democratic in this country. The designers, the big designers are designers who they are, because today it's not just one week and one city that people see you in. It is right across the country, the number of fashion weeks, all of them are getting involved into being brought into the world of fashion, recognizing why you are good, all of that. And we needed that to happen. I don't believe in this elitist idea. Yeah. You better be good or you get out. Yeah. You cannot run the place because you have power. That doesn't work anymore. Yeah. And doesn't work anymore at all. And so for me, it never worked some time back. And now you can see it really doesn't work that way. And now that Instagram, social media, it's truly democratic. You really have to deliver. Yeah, you have to be answerable to people, for your design, and you have to accept that there are many people who might not like what you do. Yeah,
right.
And that's of course strong, and that is important, because you just cannot. It's not a one-way traffic that it was there earlier. Today it's two ways. A customer can message you, and cancel you right away. So there are many different stories, many things.
But as of now, fashion weeks seem to be quite cancelled in concept. And
the fact that people are used to it and people will see it, it was largely a marketing and PR exercise for a long while. Largely a marketing and PR exercise, Business that was conducted, really nothing great, no great shakes. The business that is conducted in India is 15. I'm selling in 15 stores. Out of the 15 stores, 14 stores just keep it on consignment.
Mm-hmm.
Take the risk. I paid for my store. You pay the rent. You pay the risk. When it sells, you get money. Otherwise, I send it back to you. How is the design business going to flourish in this country? That is the single most important reason why design business in India is so screwed.
And what about this participation in fashion weeks for a fee? I mean, the amount of money they have to give to participate, then they have to get showstoppers. It's all such a mandate. And that too, for a young company which is just starting out, it must be so hard to even try and get a slot.
Exactly, and I think that some people have the money to do it, young people don't. But there are, like, Lakme Fashion Week has the next gen show, emerging designer show. So there are platforms for them to do it, and they can choose to do it. I have done many shows without a showstopper, and I really don't care. And I don't believe in paying for anyone to walk my ramp. I think I'm good enough, just as they are good at what they do. I'm good at what I do, and I've never believed in paying. But I'm happy for someone to say, "Oh, I'd love to work for you." That'd be great, as long as they're to the collection.
Yeah.
It's not just a name or a face. You need to be relevant to the collection to be able to walk the ramp for me.
So now, obviously, the concept of showstopper is pretty dead because there is no runway to walk and stop on.
Just look at what's happened to Bollywood. It's almost dying. Look at everything moved on to TV. Everything is moved on to your small screen. Everything is moved on to Max. Everything. The shows that maybe Z Television or Star Network put on are much bigger than anything Bollywood has ever put on. So it is this whole thing. Even that space is getting democratized. Look at the actors and caliber of the new actors that are coming in. Fantastic.
I think it's just Bollywood has become a space just like fashion where the best will thrive and survive. And the peripherals who are just existing with maybe money or clout may just dissipate.
Absolutely. The same thing that happened to fashion will happen to Bollywood too. Because people are you have to be strong enough to accept a good remark and a bad remark at the same time. And now power is in the hand of the people, really, on Instagram. And they can comment, Twitter, Instagram, social media can do all of this. So changing times, we need to either learn to adapt or get out of the space.
Yeah. So what part of your personality has changed during the corona crisis? Like some habit you picked up or dropped, something like that. And what do you miss the most?
So, I used to be a person who used to go out a lot, party a lot.
We are aware.
Yeah, I know. I remember the Bombay Times article once that came out about it. After Kishan. No, but I don't miss it so much. But COVID has given me time to think a little bit of introspection, in the sense, looking at philosophy, art, how do those collate. I'm looking for a way to express myself differently. I did it through films, but films are really expensive to make. And I was lucky. One of our films went to Open Film Festival in Brisbane, and I've done a few other films that are nice. So these are really ways of expressing myself differently than on.
Right. So what have you been doing the most at home other than working? And what are you wearing at home?
Mostly t-shirts and joggers is what I live in. It's important to be comfortable. Polos, t-shirt, joggers. These are.
When you do your office meetings, are you relaxed or do you wear a suit and tie?
Polo t-shirt, basically. A polo tee or a regular shirt, plain colored shirt, no flashy, no nothing on simple stuff that you need to wear for those kinds.
So you're not wearing fluorescent anymore.
Otherwise, just tell people that your internet is really bad. So it has to be your voice.
Are you in the process of writing your autobiography?
When it is written, I know the name of it.
You're working backwards.
Yes, I know the name of it, and it'll have. I know the name, and I know the byline of it. The name is called No Rear View, and the byline is passion, conviction, evolution.
Okay. So the slug, that's a slug.
Yeah, that is exactly, that is how I've lived my life throughout, right from the beginning. And I understand that you need passion to the point of obsession to get anywhere you want to in life, and then you need conviction of who you need to have a sense of conviction, because conviction colors your passion. It gives direction to your passion. It gives a root. It fuels it. It gives direction, really. And third is evolution. You need to evolve. You cannot be the same person you were 20 years ago and think that you would succeed in the new world, especially now, given that we are in the digital revolution.
Yeah, because now when people really come out, finally, everyone would have changed very drastically. Because
Completely.
everyone's using cameras and filters, everyone's looking really nice. I don't know in real life how everyone's looking now.
Exactly, but this is what is going to happen. This is what COVID has done. It got us more adept with technology in some ways, and not only that. Now that we're getting adept with technology, more and more people using it. That is the platform to reach people. How you tell your stories are based on something like that. Today you can put a movie, a small movie, 5 minutes movie or a 3-minute movie, and promote it on Instagram, or promote it on YouTube, and promote it anywhere. There are so many ways to showcase creativity, and I think that the best part of today is that we have moved into a new era post the digital era, and this has opened up and thrown up so many new opportunities for people across so many different spaces. When we started off, they were like doctor, teacher, banker, lawyer, 5 different things. Today there are 5,050 things that you can do, and you could be greatly appreciated for. But you need to understand the digital platform. You need to understand how that works, and without that, it's really impossible to exist going ahead.
So, what can you not resist in life?
Books.
That's a very very. I don't even know what to say. What kind of answer that is? It's like a black and white answer compared to your colors.
So there are different things at different points. At some point it was a Negroni that I couldn't resist. At any time. Now it is books, and I read multiple subjects at the same time, and I feel that there is so little time, and I have to know so much, and I'm missing out. And also, just exploring new things is exploring my mind. I mean, I feel rejuvenated and excited that I can look at new directions, and something that I wake up to read every day or understand, or dive deep into. That's fantastic. I never thought at this time I would be able to do something like this, but it has shown me a new path, and the path really is exciting. And every time I learn something new about that thing, I feel like I'm a 12-year-old seeing, wow, where was all of this before?
Right. So the excitement of everything.
I mean, am I talking too much?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. So now this is the last question which I ask everybody. It's called the Rubina question.
Right.
I know that you're on speed dial with Jeff. Why don't you just give me his number already? I have to tell him things.
No, I mean, he is who he is. He doesn't share numbers with anybody. I would dare to ask him for it also, but he can reach me whenever he wants. I can reach him whenever I want, if I want to.
So I think you should tell him that I'd like to get in touch with him. I have very important things to talk to him.
I'll make a case.
Thank you so much. I'll hold you to this. I'll hold you to this. So, Nari, thank you so much for your time. And I really appreciate you coming on to Rubina'S Radar. And I wish you all the very, very best. And every time I have a problem with Amazon packages, I am going to seek you out. And there is no escaping that.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm waiting for Jeff to reach out to me.
Amazon has a great feedback process. So all questions are always addressed, and nothing will go unaddressed at all. Nothing can go unaddressed in Amazon. It has to be
Even
addressed.
if it does, I'm seeking you out.
Yeah, sure, of course. And thank you for such a wonderful, insightful chat. I mean, there's a lot of what I have done has been on one subject or the other. This is lovely that we could cover so many different aspects.
Indeed, because you're ambidextrous and you're doing so many things. So
love the idea.
One facet of your personality. There's so many more.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it a lot.
And for anyone who's missed it and would like to watch it, it's going to be on YouTube and IGTV. So check it out later. Thank you.